Ciao a tutti. Sì, sono stanca, ma but I'm going to give this video blog anyway. I wanted to give you the highlights of yesterday and today. First of all, there's a new person here, Dan from New Zealand. He has been backpacking for the past 4 months and now has been cycling for 2 weeks through Italy and came up to Montepulciano and was looking for a campsite, and in March none are open. However, they directed him here, so he's staying in a tent on the farm and is helping out for a couple days to get some food and then be on his way. So that's kind of interesting. It makes me think that maybe in my travels, when I'm in Germany or France or Switzerland, that maybe I could just pop into a farm and, I don't know, work with their goats or sheep or something. Tonight, I asked Marco. Oh, I should tell you about Marco. Marco is the permanent employee for the animals, and he was away at Como visiting family, and it was not what I expected when I met him. He is this old Italian hippie who used to work in the city as a car mechanic, and then 10 years ago left to come work at this farm, and then he asked if he could stay. And so now he's been here, and he is totally the goat whisperer. I think it might have been him who has broken up. The goats are in different pens, so there is like 9 young white goats and 1 old lady brown goat, vecchia più del mondo, as he calls it, the oldest goat in the world. And then that's down the hill, and then up here in the stables there's 1 goat, Azizi, and her little baby, I think he said 15 days old, in 1 pen. They are very skittish. And there's Bautista and her young one, who's about a couple months old, and supposedly she's the prize goat for her milk, so she gets to roam around wherever she wants. And then there's some other goats in a pen behind them that are younger, that I guess are too aggressive with the ones down the hill, and the sheep are separated similarly. He's not really the sheep whisperer, but the sheep are separated lambs, which stay in the pen and just eat hay, and then the larger sheep that go out to the pasture. And Bautista, who I mentioned earlier, she has 2 children that are in the downstairs, sorry. That's what we call it. One of the woofers call it the downstairs pasture. So 2 children in the downstairs pasture, and what he explained to me was that she doesn't miss them, she doesn't remember them, because she has had kids after them. So if she heard or smelled her current kid somewhere, she would become protective, but the 2 she had before, she doesn't realize that they're her child, I believe is what he said. So anyway, I asked him, I really liked him because he's this old Italian hippie, and so Azizi is the one mother, and I asked him what the name of the bambino, the little goat, was, and he said, boh, there is no name, and he's just a Top, Zizi Top, ha 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 ha, which I thought was a funny old hippie joke. So that's Marco. He's a pretty cool guy. I asked him if I could milk the goats tonight, and he said sure, and it was pretty difficult. It's kind of a rhythm. You have to make sure to squeeze off the udder and then press the milk into the pail. So squeeze and press, and you have to, whenever you open up your hand, you have to make sure that the nipple fills up with milk, and you close it off from the rest of the udder and squeeze. So I was trying to get a hold of that. I did all right, but not very good. I am to go to bed early tonight so I can wake up and meet him in the stables at 7:30 tomorrow morning. Now on the flip side of milking and babies and of goats. Yesterday I watched Ulysses slaughter a goat. A lamb. He took all the feet together, all the hooves, wrapped them in rope, and he put it on a pallet off the dusty road from the stables, and he just took his knife and cut his throat. But he didn't cut the esophagus, just the arteries to let it bleed out. And I asked him about it being inhumane, and he, from what I understood, said that no, since the lamb has less blood than we do, their death happens quicker. They're in less pain than we would experience if we were to have our throat slit. So it's just not comparable. So the lamb kind of pitched for a bit and kind of like got some blood all over its white fur. They're not very white though. They're pretty brownish and dirty. There's one male goat who's like the father of all the baby goats, Reno, who is supposed to be white, but he's like half brown because, from what I could tell, he likes getting under the goats when they're urinating. So Reno, I don't know, gets peed on. He is in a pen with sheep all by himself. One goat and there's sheep. A strange goat. So anyway, I watched this goat being slaughtered. Lamb being slaughtered, and then Ulysses just pitched it into a wheelbarrow, and I helped push it over to the garage where he had a little air gun, and he made a slit in the ankle of the goat, and he put the air gun into this slit, and high pressure air to help peel the skin away from the rest of the muscle. That way it'd be easier to skin. So then, and like once it's dead, it was kind of strange. Like, as he was trying to maneuver it to get the whole body puffed up, because at some point only like the left side was puffed up, and he couldn't get the air into the right side, and so you just kind of have to grab it. I grabbed its ear of its severed head, you know? I mean, it wasn't completely severed, and sure, your hand's all bloody, but after a while, like once you touch it, it's not that you become desensitized, but it just doesn't bother you as much. So then we took it back up, and I watched him hook it, and he just started skinning it, and we were talking about cheese and rennet, and supposedly the traditional way of making, I think he said Parmesan, is vegetable rennet from a local artichoke flowers, and he said there is a farmer nearby who grows this artichoke, so I'm hoping that I will get to go with him to collect the artichoke rennet to make traditional pecorino, which would be pretty cool. So as this goat was dripping blood, the dogs and the cats were around, the dogs were licking up the blood, and then when he finished taking off all the skin, and you have to crack the ankles and the wrists and take off all the skin and the head, the dog would come by and lick the exposed esophagus, and then he eventually gutted it and left all the tasty organs in: heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and then he took the skin and the head and the hooves and all of the gross internal organs, because the lamb had just eaten, and wheelbarrowed it, pushed it out into the woods with a trail of dogs and cats behind him, dumped it, and that's just the way it went. So that was pretty interesting. So that'll happen again, probably in the next couple weeks. Whether or not we'll get to eat that, I don't know, but I think that would be pretty neat to be able to eat a lamb that I knew alive and then watched being slaughtered. So yeah, is that everything so far? These days are so long, sometimes I just can't remember. But for that, since I have to get up tomorrow morning early and milk goats, I'm going to call it a night. Buona notte. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.